Okay, hi everyone. Today we're gonna excuse me. Today or this evening, I'm going live. Hello. I did an announcement and I will get better at announcing it in the future. But I had a lot of questions. As you know, I post and I'm like, ask me your questions, DM me your questions. So I had questions about triggers, intrusive thoughts, nervous system regulation, inner child healing, and how to not block yourself from true love, because there was the number one basically response that I get from people sometimes, especially when they're just starting to work with me, um, or often, like, when they've never done any type of inner work, they're like, "You know what?" They always say this one thing. They always say this one thing, and I'm like, "No, that's not the vibe. We're not gonna do that." So I'm gonna get into what that is later, and we're gonna make sure you don't do that because I want you to the best relationships in your life. But if you have this limiting belief, it will stop you. Some people have the limiting belief, you don't even have the limiting belief. So we are going to talk about that, why it happens, and how to release that limiting belief so you can let a lot of love, and good, healthy relationships in. All right? Okay. So the first thing is just about triggers, which I think is great. I'm so glad you guys asked about triggers, especially this time of the year. Holidays are coming up, which is triggering for a lot of people. There's just more going on. You're overly stimulated often, and then you're around family members, which can be triggering. All of these things can be triggering. So it's multi-layered, and I want to start with the first, not most like superficial layer, but kind of in a way. So the first layer is that like you have to identify what the trigger is and like really identify with it. Sorry, really identify what it is, because your triggers are your teachers. So is it like that actual sound is bothering you, which I have misophonia, which is like sounds certain sounds bother you? Fine, fair. But is it really that, or is it someone being disrespectful? Someone that sound is like a gesture indicating that they're being disrespectful. So what really is it? You have to dig deep with this one and think about it for a little bit and be like, okay, what am I actually triggered by? If you're getting triggered by another person, often, like I just said, your triggers are your teachers. So often when you're triggered by another person, it's because they have something that you want, or you're seeing a trait in yourself that you don't like, that you have some of, that you just have some of it. And it could also be a trait that a caregiver, someone from your childhood, some past trauma, any type of past trauma that you haven't completely healed is, reminding you of. So it's one of those. It it can be a combination of both. I mean, don't shoot the messenger because a lot of times when people initially hear this, from me or anyone, it's kinda like, "Oh, I don't have those things." Well, maybe you do, and maybe that's okay. Maybe it's a lot better to bring that into awareness and be like, "Okay, yeah, I do that sometimes." Or if it's something that you don't do at all and actually you're hyper vigilant about and you don't do to people, but people do to you and you get really upset about, well, then what is behind that? Like, think about your triggers are your teachers, so what is that teaching you? And I'll give you a personal example, okay? So, I used to really get triggered when people would disrespect my time, not value my time, and it could just any perceived of that. If you're late for something, if you cancel something, if you are like, "Okay, like, we'll" like, you're dangling around time or things like that, any of that would really upset me. And so I'm like, "Okay, well, there are people that are like that, so you can just not deal with them, right?" Like, logically, you can just, like, not deal with them. If it's a client, they could have a financial consequence, or you cannot work with them. So I'm thinking to myself, "What is beneath this? Why is this triggering to me?" Like, just the response was elevated for what it was, right? And so after doing some work around it and really thinking about it, yeah, it is disrespectful. That's the one thing don't we can't get more of is time. So disrespectful towards someone's time, it's kind of like the lowest of the low thing to do. A lot of narcissists do that. I specialize in helping people heal from narcissistic relationships, so I obviously have a lot of experience with that, and this was obviously something that was unresolved trauma around that. So, what I realized is that I got messaging at some point in my life that I wasn't worthy of anything, and I wasn't like, my everything about me was less than other people. And everyone is, better than me, and I have to work for that, and so even in adulthood, I knew that wasn't true, but that trigger was still there, and it was, like, subconscious, it wasn't completely unconscious. I'm like, "That's why that's triggering me so much," because if someone's late for something, it's like, "Okay," or if someone's gonna cancel on me, it's like, "Okay, I'm not gonna make plans with that person," you know? And so that is just one example of that, and now that doesn't bother me. And I'll continue with this example. I reconnected with someone from my past and, that has some narcissistic tendencies, and they were doing the same thing, like, "Oh, yeah, let's hang out. Uh, I'll send you some dates I'm available tonight." Then, like, a week went by, "I'll send you some dates," like, there's, like, this weird carrot dangling thing, and narcissists do want you to, like, beg to, like, hang out with them. They have their self-esteem is so low. And I was just like, "Oh, this is so pathetic." Like, I was just totally got the ick from it. And, wanting it like, I mean, I think a month passed by and they're like, "Okay, I'm getting this thing done, and then after that, we'll hang out." And I'm like, "Bro, listen, it'd be fun to catch up with you, but I'm just interested in, like, having fun and, like, whatever." But if like, what's not fun is going back and forth about this. It's not the vibe, I'm not into it, it's not that deep. And I was just like, and not only was I kinda I was kinda, like, grossed out, and I always say this to you guys, when you really heal from something, a behavior that used to trigger you, used to upset you in any way, it will just, like, be neutral to it, or it'll just be like, ugh, it'll just give you the complete ick, okay? Because it's just not part of your life or your standards, and it's kind of like that energy, that frequency is just you're not a vibrational match for it anymore, and it'll just be like, "Ugh," and it'll feel good to just actually do that and be like, "Okay, yeah, that doesn't vibe with me anymore, and I used to give so much of my energy to getting triggered by this, and now I don't. I don't get triggered by it." And there's so much freedom that you get from that, and you know what I want from any of my clients or course students or anyone who watches a single piece of content for me, I want you to have a level of emotional freedom from whatever it is. And so that is the first piece of dealing with triggers. Your triggers are your teachers. So logically, like, what is it that's triggering me? What can I learn from this? What does this remind me of? Is it something I don't want to recognize in myself? And it's okay if it's okay if it's there. It's okay. There's no shame in that. I'd rather you recognize it and be like, "You know what? Okay, I can move past this." So there's no shame in that. Or is it something from the past that I need to resolve and look at and give that to myself and just say like, "Hey, you know what? That's not true. This person trying to make me feel this way, but it's not true." Okay? So that's the first layer of dealing with triggers. And then the second one, um, is about, obsessive thoughts. So the obsessive thoughts things and this could be okay, it was the question that was asked was about someone, and, but this could really be an obsessive thought about anything, really, because it could be like when you have an obsessive thought, whether it's about someone or a substance or anything, the the baseline belief system, the foundation is like, there's something outside of me that can make me feel better, that can ease my nervous system, that could calm me down. That is the false belief that is there under any type of obsessive or intrusive thought always, okay? And that is false. So just recognizing that, like, okay, I'm getting activated. I just really need this person to talk to me, respond to me, and that will soothe my nervous system for maybe what, all of what, 5 minutes? No. So that's not really what's going on. You have something that you're looking for outside of yourself to soothe you. And so one, recognizing, and this is the deeper layer to it because it's always a nervous system regulation issue, which, can often stem to back to childhood trauma. But think about it. Okay, what is it that I need? Let's say from because this question wasn't specifically about another person. What is it that I really want from that person? "Oh, well, I want their attention, I want them to respond." Okay, but what do you want underneath that? What is it that you want underneath that? Sorry, all my comments. Hey, Kaylin. So what is it that you want underneath that? And is it a sense of feeling loved? Is it safety? Is it security? It's something like that. It's either safety, security. I mean, I often say that you could distill everything down into like love and peace because peace is this feeling of just feeling so regulated and safe. And then we all want to feel love. Our nervous system wants to connect with people, but we want to connect with people in a safe, healthy way. The problem is that we often connect with dangerous people, the people that are going to re-traumatize us because that's all we know. We learned from a young age that love was this thing that's actually unsafe and unhealthy. So we have to retrain our nervous system and our brain to know that love is safe and healthy and grounded and secure and calm. So when you're having those obsessive thoughts, you have to completely, I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. It's difficult for not that long. Okay. Everything that's uncomfortable, I promise you, it's not uncomfortable for that long unless you relapse back into the old behavior. So what is it that you really want from that person or that a thing? Like, oh, my microphone is super glitchy. Well, let me see about that. How about now, Kayla? Is it glitchy now? I can unplug it if it is. I hope it's not my internet connection because I just got that redone. Okay, well, let me know if it's still glitchy because I definitely don't want it to be glitchy for you guys. Um, but thank you for letting me know, but let me know if it's still glitchy. Oh, God. Okay, so it's not super bad, but okay. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if it's my internet or my here, let me try unplugging. Okay, how about now? My mic was muted. Oh my god. Okay. Welcome to how, cringe all of this is when you go live. Really? Still no sound? It says sound on my end. Hold on, let me look at my settings again. Yeah, it says the sound is working on my end. I wonder. It's back? Okay. Okay, that's perfect. Oh dear. Okay. So I'm gonna start with nervous system regulation again. I'm just gonna start with the triggers because I don't know what you guys heard. Thank you so much, Kaylin. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know what you guys heard, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. And what I was saying in the very beginning of this live is that your triggers are your teachers, and that often, okay, got it. Yeah. So often, like triggers, they're multi-layered. Like the logical mind has some reverence over or some like control over triggers, but it's really in your nervous system. The first thing to do, because triggers are your teacher, is to understand, is this something I have within myself, or is this some unresolved wounding from the past? And it's reminding me of that. It's one of those two things. And the thing is like you don't want to keep giving your energy to something that is just kind of like emotionally draining. Getting all like worked up over something. You want to be like, oh, that used to trigger me, and I'm just completely at peace now. And so it's kind of like, what is there? What is it teaching you? And when you're getting activated, love you too. So when you're getting activated, what is going on? If you were just to take a pause, there's so much power in taking a pause and breathing and asking yourself, okay, here I am triggered by the same thing again. What is going on? And what I was saying before is I gave an example of, I'll give you a personal example of when I had this huge trigger around time. If someone I felt like disrespected my time or was flaky in any way, it just really bothered me. Instead of being like, okay, I'm not going to hang out with that person, or if it's a client, like just charge them for that time, like done and done, right? But like it was really triggering me. And when I did the inner work around it, I realized it's because I got some old messaging that was negative and not true about not being worthy, not being valuable, not and it's like, okay, of course I'm valuable. Of course, like my time is just as in me, myself, I'm just as important as anyone else, and so is my time. And like the false belief that I had that I was told when I was a young age is like everyone else is up here, you're down here. You have to, make a feast out of crumbs, meaning you get a little bit and you should be grateful for that while everyone else like, no, that's not true. And so logically I knew that wasn't true. And I'm like, of course it's not true. But I hadn't completely healed that. So in my adult life, it was showing up being so emotionally inflamed about people being flaky or just rude. And so doing the inner work really helped resolve all of that. And so a testament to that is that someone, let's just say someone from my past reappeared and they were like wanting to reconnect. And they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, it was so great to hang out. I'll text you tonight, like sometimes to hang out. Cool. And then it was like, oh, I'll text you in a week to hang out. And I'm like, whatever. And then, like just this carrot dangling. And this person, it has a lot of narcissistic traits. So a narcissist like love when you beg and chase and all the stuff. And I was just like, ugh, like I was just so grossed out actually. And it's a good thing to heal from something. No, because people get the complete it from that type of stuff. We would be neutral. And so it's actually a good thing. And with that person, I ended up being like, dude, um, I like I would it'd be fun to hang out, right? Like, 'cause like let's just have fun hanging out. But and to catch up 'cause it's someone I hadn't seen in a while. But yeah, I was like, "No, it's not fun." It's like this back and forth thing. It's not the vibe, like, it's not that deep, so stop. And I was just like, yeah, like, and like, it's not something I would done in the past. So people like, "How dare you?" and all this stuff. And it's just like I had so much emotional freedom from it. And that's what I want you to have. Kind of find anyone that watches my content, I want you to have emotional freedom, that sense of freedom. And we all want that. People think like, oh, I want this, it'll make me happy. But no, you want freedom. Underneath everything, you want that sense of freedom, which is peace. Again, everything comes down to you want either peace or love. And so that's what you want. Just gonna look at the comments. Love you too. Uh, and then the deeper layer to that is when you're having like these intrusive thoughts and you're like, oh my God, these are taking over my brain. And so someone was asking me about like obsessive and intrusive thoughts. Now, there's something you have a belief, a false belief, that there's something outside of you that can just ease intrusive thoughts, ease those obsessive thoughts. That is not true. That's the first thing you need to know. And then in order to really have that nervous system regulation, you get to look at what is this person? What is this thing that I'm having obsessive thoughts about? What feeling am I trying to get from that? Am I trying to feel complete? Am I trying to feel loved? Am I trying to feel secure? Whatever it is, you get to look at that and decide what is it that I'm trying to get from this outside source. And that is where the regulation will happen. I promise you, any obsessive thought you have is not about that person at all. And how nice is that to know that something else outside of you isn't controlling you and your thoughts, that actually you have the control. And actually, I don't care what it is, you can provide that for yourself. Like the biggest argument I get is like, oh no, but like I need love. Like, we can't, like, we're not an island. Like, I just want this person to love me. And I can't just be by myself. No, but I'm telling you to get to a place of real love and having real healthy relationships, you need to love yourself first. You need to be the love of your own life. That is the only way, I'm telling you, it's the only way that you will have healthy love, healthy relationships. So the first thing to do is become the love of your own life. And then you'll find, and then maybe that person will show up differently, or maybe something better will show up where they have all the qualities that you like, but a, a better version of it will go. Some people call it different timelines, a different timeline, but you will. There won't be so much anxiety and strife around it. And let's see. And so the other comment I got was like, "Hey, can you do more nervous system commentary and videos?" And yeah, a lot of my most of my stuff is about neuroscience, psychology, nervous system regulation. And the question was, or the comment was kind of open ended. And one thing I will say, and this is where you can get really deep, nervous system regulation. You can really heal a lot of just old patterns that aren't serving you, is to do what's called in psychology, it's called family systems work, sometimes referred to as inner child work. Now, some people immediately love this, and some people are like, fuck you, I'm not doing that. But I'm telling you, and I was one of those people, even as a therapist with an advanced degree in psychology, I was like, I don't want to do that because it's uncomfortable, but it is so worth it. And so I'll walk you guys through like a mini example of that. And then what I was going to also do is make a separate video for inner work, for inner child work, family systems work. But what you do is, and this goes along with getting triggered. So say you're triggered. Let's take my time example. Okay, I'm triggered because this person is being flaky or rude or not respecting my time. Okay, so if I were to think, I'm an adult right now as Lauren, but which version of me as a child or as a teenager, it could even be like 5 years ago or a year ago, is triggered by that? Which version of me, like as a child or teenager, doesn't feel seen or heard or is upset or feels abandoned? And so that might take some time. And so sometimes it's like, okay, we have the 7-year-old me that got left at school and like was the last one to get picked up, or this version of me that was told I'm dumb, or whatever it is. If you can look at just pinpoint, and it might be a couple versions of yourself, and that's okay too. And so find which version of yourself, the 8-year-old or the 10-year-old or the teenager who just wanted to be herself or himself. And then can you talk to that version of yourself and be like, you know what? You didn't get whatever need it was. You were abandoned. You weren't seen, or you were told to shut up. You were told this and that. And hey, I'm going to tell you right now that that's not true. And I love you. And give that version of yourself, look that version of yourself in that, give them a hug, kneel down if you need to, just make them feel safe, provide a safe container for them. You can do this in a meditation. That's really deep. Um, and can be kind of emotional, but in a good way, and just be like, "Hey, look at me. You are so loved, and that whatever it was you didn't get, I'm providing that for you right now." And so that is a very helpful thing to do. And so it's really good to start with like the youngest memory that you can think of, and then you could work your way up if there are different versions of that. But definitely start with the youngest because often, if it's something that it's a repeat pattern, like I said, like it could be from like the version of you that was a year ago, but I bet you it goes back further. And so you want to get like to the root of it. And then when you get used to doing inner child work or family systems work, you can just talk to your various inner children on a regular basis. Like, hey, who's cranky? Who wants this? Who needs to relax, but the other part thinks that you need to keep obsessively working or you won't be loved, because a lot of us have that. We're like, we have to overperform or we won't be loved or get our needs met. So it's like, who needs to chill right now? Who needs to rest? Who needs to feel loved? Like all those things. If you provide that for yourself, I am telling you a lot of the feelings that you have of like needing someone else or like attracting toxic people just goes away. It feels like magic. But it's because you've healed these subconscious and even unconscious parts of yourself that you might even sit in therapy and be like, oh yeah, I'm fine. But that inner child is like, yeah, but I still want this. So if you can do that, it's so powerful and it is so quick. I'm telling you, it will save you years of therapy. I use it on my clients all the time. And some of my clients, they're very resistant to it. And then when we finally get around to it, they're like, "Oh, I should have done that sooner." They're like, "Oh, you did it when you were ready." And it's it all happens in the time that it's supposed to happen. I tend to draw emotional distant men because that's how my mom was. And I'm used to she's yes. So when we have an emotionally unavailable parent, first of all, the things that are most unresolved from our caretakers, our parents, is the thing that we attract in until we realize it, until we bring it into the light. So let's say you had, in this case, from this comment, an emotionally unavailable parent, you are part of you as a child like wanted that love so badly. So you go into your adult life and you find emotionally distant, emotionally unavailable people, and you try to fix them or you try to get them to come towards you like you wanted your mom or emotionally unavailable parent to do. So yeah, that's really good insight. And so from there, what you want to do is be like, you know what? Go to that version of whatever. And it could be multiple versions. Be like, you know what, you're loved, you're taken care of. You deserve to be seen. And recognize for all that you are, and you don't have to chase anything. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to stress yourself out to get love. That's like literally the opposite of love, right? So love is just like I accept you. You're seen and supported and loved and taken care of just for being you. Especially when you're dealing with a child or your inner child. Not that like we all have if you're parenting and stuff, of course you have to like correct things and things. But when you're in a safe, healthy relationship, as a adult, you know that something can happen, and it's not like, okay, if I accept this person's going to break up with me. I mean, that's tyranny. A lot of narcissists are like that. So when you're in a safe relationship, or not with an avoidant or an emotionally distant person, it's like, okay, well, if I don't do whatever that I know they're going to be, that goes away. So you want that safe, healthy container. Uh, my puppies and kids' voices calm me down. Yes. Yes, things that come yes, I love it. whatever works for you or certain sounds. People use certain, like, binaural beats to listen to anything that works, do that. Inconsistent communication for some reason is a trigger for me. Well, yeah, of course, inconsistent communication, I just wanna validate that. That's of course, that would be triggering, and when that's a form of safety, right? When things are consistent. And I'm not talking about the little blip here or there, that's fine. Like, those things happen, no one's perfect. But I'm talking on a regular basis for someone to just be consistent, for someone to not flip the switch on you, for you to not to walk on eggshells. So, when we have those type of dynamics or we're attracting them, typically it's because things at some point, you felt like you had to walk on eggshells or things were just everyone the next shoe was gonna drop or this or so it's kinda your nervous system was on guard all the time, was on 10 all the time, and so we will attract that dynamic until you tell your tell I mean, it's more than telling yourself, but you provide that for yourself, you provide safety and consistency for yourself, and I do wanna say that it does start with telling yourself that and believing it and feeling into it. If you can just sit with yourself and say, like, I am safe, I am taken care of, and like dig deep and find the feeling of safety. We have to start somewhere. So let's say everything around you is chaotic. Let's just take the most extreme hyperbolic situation. Everything around you is chaotic, nothing's safe. And so can you close your eyes and look within and be like, okay, this is what it feels like to be safe. This is what it feels like to be loved and supported and taken care of and all whatever it is that you want. How does that feel? And feel into that. If you are connected to a higher power, you call God, universe, call on that and be like, "Can you show me safety? Can you show me what love looks like? Can you show me?" And have it amplify and amplify and amplify. I'm a big believer in that. So you have to start from there. You have to, otherwise you're going to keep repeating the pattern and looking for that outside of yourself. Um, that's good. That's good. Yeah, 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 and yeah, tapping into those memories. So I instantly get the memory of, like, my mom in the backyard, throwing a ball, and if I didn't throw it perfectly, she would quit. So it's kind of like, okay, you can revision that. So you take that version of you as a child, and you're now playing with that version of yourself. You're playing ball with that version of yourself, and it's like, yay, you're encouraging that version of yourself no matter what. So they can mess up, they can throw it in the neighbor's backyard, and you're like, "Okay, it's okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. No matter what, you're okay." So it's reparenting yourself in that way. A lot of times when, we're older, it's just about reparenting ourselves. We're done being a child and a teenager, and then you go back and reparent yourself. So that's a really good memory to reparent yourself around. Yeah, and then you'd be chasing her and cry so it's like and then you chase people in your adult life. So, you don't have to chase, you don't have to perform anymore. I just did a video about that. I think it's called Are You Really Ready? About, like, you don't have to chase or perform anymore. You don't. And when you can tell yourself that and watch that video, by the way, maybe I'll link it in here, but, like, when you stop realizing and stop and and just make the choice like I am not going to chase, I'm not going to perform for other people to receive love. It's not genuine love anyway. When you decide that, things start to automatically shift. And so you could, again, having that memory pop up is great. Reframe that memory. You step in, you can tell your, original parent, like, please go, I can take care of this. And you reparent that situation and you show yourself, that version of yourself, the love, the care, the reactions that you wanted at that time. And it will really rewire your nervous system. I promise you. It's amazing. I love inner child work. Um, and let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just this last question. Okay. So And I've had different variations of this question, or it's a comment, which is after a relationship ends, it's like, I fuck love, I'm not doing it. I'm never getting married again. Um, and just, I'm done with this. It's like this big barrier put up. And so when I hear that, I'm like, okay, first of all, like I just said, like your triggers are your teachers, but also relationships are your biggest teachers. Relationships are a reflection of yourself. Relationships are showing you where you are like repeating certain patterns that need to be healed, or just anything that needs to be healed. Relationships are your biggest mirror. So instead of saying like, oh, I'm not gonna, why would you just empower yourself in that way? Like, why would you let someone take your power like that? Why would you let someone like live in your head rent free like that? And why would you like, it's really draining your energy. Like if you're like, okay, because of this relationship, I'm never allowing myself to experience something really good, like real love. So you're giving your energy to that person in that relationship that literally doesn't exist anymore. The past literally doesn't exist anymore. So you're allowing that to like basically rule your life and rob you of something really good, because when you do the work, you increase your capacity for actual real love and genuine peace and like a safe relationship. But if you don't do the work, then you're just stuck on this old situation and you are like, okay, yeah, just because of that. And what does that allow to happen? That allows that person to not only live rent free in your head, like I just said, but it allows them to come back in anytime they want, because you're not over it. You're still giving energy to it. You created a whole belief structure, a whole new belief structure around relationships based on that situation. So instead of growing from it, you're like, oh, I'm not going to ever like fall in love again. And da, da, da. Okay, one, you gave all that person your power. And two, now like, and if you were dealing with a narcissist or toxic person, they're kind of low key loving that. They're low key loving that you will never find something better than them, because they literally, I mean, their ego wants that. They want to be like, yeah, you never. I've had a narcissist be like, you think you're going to do better than me? You think you're going to da da da. Like, and so they want you to believe that. So you stay with them. And so even if you're not with them physically anymore, they're still completely occupying your energy and your mind. So think of it that way. And do you really want that? Wouldn't you want to, let's say you ran into that person or whatever, like you're at the same restaurant, wouldn't you want to also be on like a really nice date with your new person or husband that you're like really into, your new spouse that you're really into? Instead of just giving all of your energy away and just being like, oh yeah, that was the last try. No, that is not the vibe. We are not doing that. And let me see what else I wrote. Oh, and here's the other thing. And I forgot if I just said this, but like when you do that, like that trauma that happened, and yeah, like breakups are traumatic, like bad things happen in relationships, and they're there to teach us so we don't repeat those patterns. And whatever wounding that originally came from, we don't repeat it again. But if you just decide, like, okay, I'm done with relationships now, you've created from that breakup or from that person, you've created a completely new or solidified an old malignant bad belief system around relationships. So that's your new belief system, is that they all suck and that um, like everyone's bad. If that's the truth, you're going to attract whatever you believe. So it's kind of like, okay, well, because of that one person that was pathetic and didn't see how amazing you are, you decided that everyone sucks and you're never doing that again. And so you're going to keep attracting that. Like, do you see how much power you're giving away? Like, don't do that, you guys. So you can just be like, thank you, even though it might sound so counterintuitive to give gratitude towards a shitty situation like that. You could say thank you. And from here, I'm going to improve. Thank you, because now I know that something even better is waiting for me. The next relationship I have, and this could even apply to a job or any type of dynamic, is going to be even better. Okay, that's what I want you to do. And I want you to go in and reparent yourself around those things. It's like, okay, I'm sorry in that relationship, your needs weren't met in whatever type of way. But there is someone, probably a lot of people out there that would love to love you and take care of you and support you in the ways that you need in a relationship. Okay. So, and because it's like otherwise you're living in scarcity mode. And why would you live in scarcity like that? I'll never love again. Fuck this. Everyone's like this. No, they're not. And that is not the vibe. Like that's the other thing. Like besides emotional freedom, I don't want anyone of my clients, anyone that watches my content or anything to live in a scarcity mindset. My stuff is to show you the opposite. Scarcity is not even real. It's a fear state to make you, it's a fear state to manipulate and control you. And it doesn't exist unless you believe it. So we have to get out of scarcity, my love. We have to in every area of your life, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your career, and even your spirituality. Like your universe, God is always there for you as much as you believe it. There's no real scarcity. So I need you to know that there's more than enough love. There's more than enough money for you that you could just swim in all day. It's like unbelievable. And like more than enough community and relationships, whatever it is that you want, more than enough career fulfillment, all of the things are there for you. We just have to change your belief system around them. Whatever you believe, you will show up in your life. Okay. Your world is a reflection of whatever you believe, whatever your energy is putting. And so, and I'm not saying because some people get like upset about that, but it's actually amazing because it's like, yes, I'm in control of my, like I can create my life in any way. So whatever's going on now is just that you don't like is just like past stuff, like past beliefs, whatever. You can change it in an instant. Literally, you can change your life in an instant and it will change in an instant. Change your belief systems, really sit with yourself. And another form of emotional regulation is sitting with yourself in meditation. If you can do it, and meditation doesn't have to be this big, like it could literally be like 2 minutes of quieting your mind and breathing and just repeating a mantra like I'm loved, I'm safe, I'm supported, and feeling into those feelings, even if it's just for 2 minutes out of your whole day that you feel loved or safe or prosperous or abundant or whatever it is that you want, because that is changing your belief system. Even those and maybe those 2 minutes will expand to 4 minutes, and maybe it'll expand to 30 minutes. And it will, the more you do it, because that's what it is. Most of us don't need to learn things. We need to be reminded and just repeating things all the time. That's how we create new feedback loops. Okay. So it's just getting out of that scarcity mindset. But no, sir, no, ma'am. We are not letting anyone live in our head rent free like that. With this, oh yeah, I'm never going to love again. No, you are so lovable. You are so deserving of love and care and support. And like, why would you let that little dusty whatever situation from the past completely stop you from that? No, that is not the vibe. We are not doing that. Okay. I think those were all the questions. They were, okay, let me read. That's great. I'm going to revisit that memory. Yeah, definitely redo that memory with inner child work. Any bad, like, emotionally triggering memory that you have, you can use inner child work and reparent that version of yourself in a very loving way and like let it play out how you want it. Like, and it really does. You're creating a new memory because everything, some of our memories they're constantly getting pushed out and played out again. So if you could recreate a memory, then all of a sudden in your life, the love and the money and everything will show up. Yes, you're welcome. You're letting that person take, yeah, we're not letting people take anything away from us. Like there's so many energy vampires in the world, the narcissists, the toxic people that are literally like negative energy, like any type of low energy, it's low. So it needs to feed off of higher vibe people. And it's your choice whether to do that or not, especially when you consciously understand that it is your choice. And you can say, yeah, I'm not, no, thank you. The narcissist literally wins. Yeah, gross. Yeah, now that you consciously know that, don't let the narcissist win. It's like even getting triggered by it, it's kind of like, I'm not going to even give you my energy in that way. Sorry. Like, and energy can't be created or destroyed. You can only transmute it. So it's a decision of like, okay, I'm going to take this energy and pour it into me and love into myself. Like, that's it. And stop even just draining my energy with this other person or old memory, because now you know what to do with old bad memories. Okay? Well, thank you for coming, guys. So sorry about those tech issues. Yes, one day at a time with the tech issues. I'll have to see what's up with my microphone. Um, I'm glad it wasn't an internet issue. It doesn't seem like that. And thank you, Kaylin. Thank you so much for telling me that, because I probably would have done this whole thing without even knowing that. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate anyone that was on this stream and anyone that watches it later. And for the future, send me your questions. DM me, put them in the comments on any of my content. I love answering your questions, and I love you. Okay? Have a good night, and I will see you guys again soon.